Okay, well, thank you guys for joining us tonight. This is a series of talks that I am going to do for our team and for anybody in your world that might need just a little bit more information, and maybe someone who's needing to dig a little deeper with regards to their food, relationship with food and diet and body image, and maybe they're stuck in their weight loss and they've done everything and nothing is budging. Maybe they're having a lot of digestive issues and they've tried everything. The mind-body nutrition component that I'm going to begin to share with you is just really powerful, and it's impacted my own story and my own transformation and my healing, and so I want to share that with you all. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we're going to actually just look through the slides here. And I'm going to put it in slideshow. So I want to just start by sharing how the psychology or the Institute for Psychology of Eating came into my world. I, about a year ago, had just barely heard of the Institute. I'd seen the free videos by Mark David, and I just was very intrigued because a lot of what he would share resonated with me. And I've been a dietitian for 16 years, and the first 13 years of that time was spent in clinical settings and doing care for people that were already sick. So I was in a reactive mode versus proactive wellness mode. And I just really got to a place in my own life where I had a health crisis, and I really needed to dig deeper and find some answers for myself and have a physical transformation. And so I'm going to just jump in from there and talk a little bit about just how this all came about and what I'm hoping it'll do for you. Isogenics came into my life in 2013 and radically transformed my health and my body. And I was so grateful and still am for that transformation. But about a year ago, I just realized that the products were doing their job. They were wonderful, but something inside of me was still not quite right. We had actually moved, and we're moving across the country, major stress, and that was about 6 years ago. But last year we moved into a new house, had a lot of stress, we were eating horrible, and I just felt like I need to do a bunch of cleanse days. Like I did 3 weeks in a row of 2-day cleansing, and just really wanted to get my body back, feel better, and I really was feeling icky and overweight. And I just realized after those cleanses that the products worked great. They did what they were supposed to, but I saw a number on the scale that was lower than I'd ever seen before, basically since we'd gotten married, pre-kid, PK, and just really thought still to myself that you're gross, you're still flabby, you're still overweight, just that mindset and the way I look at myself in the mirror and criticize myself. I knew something else needed to change. And so literally I believe God just directed me to the Psychology of Eating, the Institute, to take this training and to have personal healing. So I always say we teach what we need to learn. And for me, I love sharing this content so much, and I'm so passionate about it because I needed to learn it. So I'm just going to ask you to kind of be present as you listen to this and be mindful of what brought you here tonight, or brought you maybe to the recording. What is it that you're hoping to get out of this talk? I think setting intentions and really being clear on what it is that you're hoping to begin to understand deeper will really help you receive what you need. And if we don't cover it in this talk, this is a series of talks, and I'm going to build on the topics that I share. So good leaders ask great questions. That's from John Maxwell. He's one of the top leadership gurus in the world, and so that's why I'm asking you these questions tonight. And you need to just answer them in your heart. You don't need to give anybody a verbal out loud answer, but when we ask ourselves questions, really amazing things happen. So with that, I just briefly touched on my story, but I really would like to show you that over a period of years, what was going on in my heart and in my head with regard to my weight and my food intake and my body image. And I had my children in 2004 and 2008, and as most of us know that have had kids, our bodies change, and they do amazing, wonderful things. They house our children for 9 months, and then we can feed our children too. And so they change, and there's good reason for that. But I did notice that I couldn't get my baby weight off with my daughter nearly as quickly as I did with my son. And I just chronically felt icky about my body. I had a lot of frequent thoughts and internal negative chatter about my body, a lot of self-criticism around my performance in life in all areas. As a wife, as a homemaker, as a part-time person working, every area I was critiquing myself in a lot of negative energy. At that time, my body image was very poor, and it was literally an ongoing battle about eating and the guilt and the shame if I didn't eat properly, and then I'd be really proud of myself when I did really well. And it was just this cycle, like a roller coaster, and it was not pleasant. I'm sure some of you can relate. My weight was also at my highest point ever during this time. Not fun to be at your highest weight and feel icky in your body and in your clothes. Major life stressors happened during this time. We moved across the country, left my family, came out here. My husband started a new career, and I got a new job, and our kids were very little when we made that move. During this time, I had a very unhealthy relationship with food. I would go months at a time and just eat whatever I wanted, have a lot of guilt and shame, and then I would go really hardcore and tight and restrict, and then I would just feel so deprived that I would just give up. And I also was dealing with some severe health challenges, like major, like headaches that had me in bed for days, vomiting, pain and discomfort in my body from head to toe. They were doing tens of thousands of dollars of procedures on my neck and back because I had so many issues with the joints and inflammation. Basically, I was just told I'm on the spectrum for a lot of different autoimmune diseases, and here are some pain medications and some things to help your body get through it, but it's not going to get better. And that just wasn't enough for me. And so I literally prayed that God would show me a way. And I had a feeling in my heart that it was going to be a natural thing, and that I needed to kind of clean up our diet and start living a cleaner lifestyle. And so Isogenics came in my life in 2013. The cleansing nutrition just really rebalanced my body so quickly. I was totally on board. I wanted to help more people experience what I experienced. We began removing chemicals from our household. I found a passion for helping others in their wellness journey. Like, I wanted to help them be proactive with their health rather than reactive from a nutrition standpoint. During this time frame, we also lost our mother-in-law to cancer. My husband lost his mom. And it really compelled me even more to be just passionate about wellness and health and nutrition when people are still healthy, besides, waiting until they already have a really severe illness. Because at that time, people have kind of lost hope, and they don't really believe that nutrition works. I began to dig deeper and really at this time crave more of an emotional healing with regard to my weight and body image and food. And I did a lot of work on myself for other reasons, for my business, for personal growth, just counseling to kind of work through some issues from childhood that I've been carrying around with me. And it was so rewarding. And that's when the Psychology for Eating Institute dropped in my life, and things have really shifted for me. I'm able to maintain pre-baby weight with ease. And even with these amazing products with Isogenics I love, I didn't have that ability to maintain my weight quite as easily before I had this kind of emotional breakthrough, if you will, with the Psychology of Eating. So that's why I want to share with you is you can see what was happening in my life in the left-hand column. Like, it was a tough time, and you can tell that I had a lot of internal battle going on, and also then it manifested physically. Whereas over on the right side, you can see I began to dig deeper and find my purpose and clean up our lives, physically and emotionally, kind of cleaning house, and what it did for me and what it did for my health and my physical well-being. I'm entirely different now than I was then. And so I like to show this picture. Sarah, you're in that picture, but you didn't know this was in here. Sarah's my bestie from college. We're both dietitians, but that was me in the summer of 2010. And people are like, oh, what's wrong with that picture? You look great, you're smiling, you're happy. Well, you can see I was puffy. I was just inflamed. And yes, I was smiling, but I was so miserable in my own body, just from a comfort level, and also just icky, didn't feel well. And I just took this picture in the car, I don't know, a few months back, and it was after I had finished my training with the Psychology of Eating Institute. And I don't know if you can see it, but for me, I can just see a shift in my countenance. And of course, I do have less inflammation and toxicity, and I'm just rebalanced and my body is happier. But really, the emotional work that I've done is what I think has changed in my countenance. So I just like to show that there was a shift, and I believe that it can happen for anybody that's open to allowing this process to occur. So again, here I go with the questions. Are you open to learning how to embrace food and body challenges? Are you open to that? You know, if you're not open, it's pretty hard for any transformation to take place. And so I would ask you to really just, sorry guys, I'm dinging around with the slides. Give me a second. I would just ask you to really embrace, you know, the food and body challenges, whatever they may meet. Maybe your relationship with food is really a battle right now, and you're looking at that as a problem. And I'm asking you to be open to learning how to see that as something to embrace. Maybe it's a health challenge. Maybe it's a digestive issue. Maybe you have this little bit of weight. You are stuck. No matter what you do, it will not come off. And maybe it's just poor self-image. No matter what anybody tells you, you don't feel valued, and you don't feel like your appearance is ever where you want it to be, and that's where you're putting your worth. I really want you to embrace that and be open to learning how to embrace it.
Amy?
I'm going to ask you also to be open to learning how to let go of some toxic dietary beliefs. And some of these are some that I even learned as a dietitian in school. Not many of them, but some of them are. And they don't serve us. And we've really got to have a come to Jesus meeting with ourselves and talk to ourselves about what it is in our minds we believe about diet and food. So I'm asking you to be willing to letting go of some of those. I'm asking if you want to become more in tune with your mind-body connection. Is that something that you're willing to do? It does take work, but it is so, so worth it. I love this quote: we are our thoughts. We cannot change anything if we cannot change our thinking. So that's kind of the work that we're talking about, and we're just going to just touch on it tonight. I mean, this talk is only 45 minutes, but I certainly have resources and books that I can recommend to you if you want to dig deeper. We can answer questions at the end too. But I want you to remember that you are an eater, okay? Every person on the planet is an eater. And who you are as an eater is so important. So my goals for you as an eater are to have self-love and to not have pain and suffering around your relationship with food. Every time it's time to sit down and have a meal or think about what you're going to eat. I don't want you to experience self-hate or frustration or criticism. I want you to experience love for yourself. And that's an art, and it does take time, but it is my goal for you as someone that is always going to need to eat. The other goal is full self-expression. And what this means is really just for you as an eater to be comfortable eating and able to fully be who you are, and that food would nourish you so that you can fulfill your destiny here, fulfill who you're meant to be, that you are vibrantly healthy, that you have the energy to do what you need, that you feel well enough to be doing whatever you're called to do in this life. And food and nutrition are a huge part of that, as well as the mindset around food. So as an eater, I want you to be able to fully self-express in this world, but that takes work as well for that to happen. Yeah.
Can you see me? Can you hear me? Are we supposed to be seeing a PowerPoint?
Oh, it's not, you're not seeing it?
No, and I wasn't sure at first, and then I thought I better talk to her.
Yes, I clicked share screen, but apparently it wasn't working. Thank you for telling me.
Okay.
So it wasn't up ever?
No. So you showed the pictures, and I was like, I don't.
Is it here? Do you see it now?
Yes.
Well, thank you for telling me, because when I'm in this screen, all I can see is this screen. So I didn't know that. So thank you.
Yeah. So now we can see it. Yeah.
Great. So the picture that I was trying to show you, you could not see.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
That's okay.
Okay. Well, moving forward.
Okay.
So I want for your relationship with food to be natural and easy. And I am a Christian, so this is my belief. This is my hypothesis. You don't have to believe this, but I really believe as women, our battles with food and body image go back to the Garden of Eden when Eve took that first bite of the forbidden fruit. I really do. I believe that that was when the struggle for women and food and body happened, was when we chose to disobey and take the forbidden fruit. And that's just something that we are going to have to work on. It's not going to not require work. It's not just going to come natural and easy without a little bit of work. But when you put the work in on yourself, it will become natural and easy. But by default, it's not. And so, by the way, since I see myself now in the screen, goodness gracious, you can tell on the Virgin Zoom, you know, when I'm doing a presentation. Jackie's name is appearing at the bottom of my screen, and that might be confusing some of you. Jackie's letting me use her Zoom account because she has the one that you can use without time restrictions and getting cut off. So thank you so much to Jackie. I think she's on here tonight. But that is me. It just says Jackie's name. I'll probably need to get one of these for myself. But let's see, getting back to goals for you as an eater. I want you to have a body and a metabolism that support who you're supposed to be on this earth. And I kind of touched on this with self-expression. If your body and metabolism are working for you instead of against you, you're going to be able to step into your greatness every single day so much easier than you are if it's a battle, right? I mean, you're going to be who God intended for you to be and fulfill your purpose in life here when you're feeling well and your metabolism and your body are supporting you rather than fighting you. And I highlighted this one at the bottom for a reason. I want you to see your relationship with food as an opportunity to grow and learn some life lessons. And I will say that this statement right here, Mark David, our instructor, said this probably like the very first couple weeks of our training, and it has just resonated with me. And I mean, it is one of my favorite quotes of his, and it's, our relationship with food is a mirror of our relationship with life. And I say that, and sometimes people, I've said that, and people get kind of mad, like they don't want to hear that. And yet, as I look at myself, it is so true. Like if we're constantly stressed when we eat, if we're in a rush, and we have anxiety all the time, and we're just scarfing our food down, and we're not thinking, and we're just hurry, scurry, everything is putting out a fire, we're just eating just on the fly because we need the food. You know, when we have that kind of energy with food, it's pretty typical that we also have that energy about life as a whole. We're typically frantic and rushing and anxious in life if we have that kind of relationship with food. So slowing down is a really big deal. And it's tough for me. I'm a big type A girl, and in college, you know, my roommate was never there. I just ate by myself, and I always had studying to do, so I just scarfed it all down and need to get back to work, to work. And I think that's stayed with me, and it's still a bad habit for me, and I'm trying to work on it. But that's one thing that you can do today, is you can, however long it's taking you to eat a meal, I want you to slow it down by like 5 minutes. I want you to set a timer. I know this sounds silly. Set a timer and actually chew your food like 30 times, right? Like, is that crazy? I chew it 4 times and I swallow, you know? Like, I don't have time for that. And that's my problem, is that I don't have time for the food to nourish me and satiate me and for me to enjoy the experience. So slowing down is huge for not only weight loss, but for digestive stuff, okay? So really, your relationship with food is a mirror of your relationship with life. So keep that in the back of your mind as we move forward. So again, I asked you earlier if you'd be willing to embrace whatever food and body challenges you're going through and see them as a doorway, like literally open the door and be willing to just see what's on the other side. I'm not saying you need to walk over there and fix it, problem solve it, sort it, organize it, categorize it, none of that. I'm just saying open the door. Just take a look. What is this food issue that you may be having? Maybe it's even an intolerance to food, a sensitivity to food. Like I said, maybe it's irritable bowel, maybe it's skin issues when you eat certain foods. There are things happening in your body in response to food. And maybe you're having a health crisis. Maybe your body's breaking down on you. Maybe you're having, like I was, all those autoimmune things and nobody knows what's wrong with you. You know what? That was a doorway. I didn't know it back then. My body was calling me to listen. And now my body's active and healthy and thriving, but I had to change some things and I didn't even know what they were, but I was willing to listen. And I will say this, you guys, and I've seen this in other people's lives too. If we listen to the message that is our symptom or our condition, if we really are willing to be open to that, journal about it, pray about it, ask God about it, whatever your belief is, meditate on it, just be aware, take some time to be in tune with your body, take 10 minutes to sit and just scan from head to toe. You know, if you need to do a meditation, there's a meditation app called Headspace I just got introduced to. It's 10 minutes a day. He's going to walk you through the head to toe and just being mindful of what's happening, not trying to fix anything, not trying to judge, but noticing if you have tightness in your chest or your hips. Where is all of that coming from and what is it asking for you to look at? And if you're able to do that, I guarantee you the challenge that you're experiencing, whether it's with food or your weight or your body image, it's going to run its course a lot sooner than it would if you just ignored it and kept pressing and pressing and trying to move forward and just live with it and ignore it. The message will get louder. And for most people, it becomes some huge health crisis, okay? So listen to your body when it's sending you those messages. My instructor says, you know, this is his assertion. So this is what we want to believe, is that you are on a meaningful journey here in life. Like, you are here for a purpose. The physical experience of your body is mirroring the soul, like those deeper things that you're not wrestling with. If you've got some kind of symptom or something going on with your body or your relationship with food, it's something to look deeper into the soul. Just like food was a mirror to our relationship with life, so is our physical experience in the body also kind of a mirror to the soul. It's like we just have to keep going deeper and deeper. And I just have to share this. Like, today was crazy. Like, I thought I had already had my fair share of physical experiences and my journey. And today, of all days, I had a full-blown, like, anaphylactic type of allergy reaction out here going on a walk, jog. Had to end up at the urgent care getting an epinephrine shot and, you know, Benadryl and all this crazy stuff. And you know what's funny is I literally had this huge aha moment, like a breakthrough this morning with my business coach. And I don't know, I did a cleanse day yesterday. You guys know what that is because you're on isogenics, but I really think my body, like the stuff that I've been storing, the toxic messages and things that I'm no longer willing to hang on to, I feel like they just flooded my system all at once today, and my body just couldn't handle it. And it came out in the form of a histamine reaction. But I really think that the body mirrors what's happening in the soul. And so it got my attention for sure. But it actually encouraged me, because it makes me think the more issues I'm having in my body these last few months, which I've had like hardly any since I started on isogenics, it's because I'm growing and I'm stretching myself. And so I'm excited for you guys to be able to experience some of that. And it's a good thing. It's a good thing for your body to let go of some of that. One of my friends is a yoga instructor. She says, we hold our issues in our tissues. And I just so believe that's true. So the next thing that I like to bring up, and like I said earlier, I feel like this is an issue for women more so than men, but this is still an issue for men too. The statistics are there, but the needle just it tips way higher for women. So the reason that I feel like it's important that we have to have these discussions and share this with other people, get this information out there, is because 95% of women in North America are dissatisfied with their weight or their body. 95%. That's just crazy. That's pretty much every woman on the North American continent, you know. And 80% of women say they're on a diet. And how many of us love being on a diet, right? I mean, who said that the first 3 letters of the word diet are die? You know, I just want to die. I'm a dietitian. I hate the word diet. I know Sarah does too. Nobody wants to be on a diet, right? We just want to have a healthy lifestyle. We want to make good choices. We want to have balanced lives, feeling vibrantly healthy, but none of us want to follow a diet. So for me, I believe this is a collective issue. This is like something we as a whole, as women, have to get behind and help one another, because it's not just an individual problem. Okay, so earlier I had asked you, if that was such an issue, those numbers that you just saw, what can we do to help begin the healing? And I asked you earlier if you'd be willing to let go of some toxic dietary beliefs. And like I mentioned, listen, this is not necessarily your fault that you believe some of these things, but we have been programmed from childhood, and we're little sponges. Like, we pick up on things. We pick up on it in the media, we pick on it from our parents, whatever, whoever was important to us, other kids at school. These are toxic dietary beliefs, and you guys, they really are just as harmful to our bodies as the toxins that are physical in food, air, and water. They are so toxic to the body, and I will show you that here in a bit. But number one, that a lot of people, this was more in the 90s. I don't see it quite as much now. It's kind of faded out, but there are still some people that hold true that dietary fat is bad. Like, fat is the enemy. I will not eat anything that has fat in it. I do not want fat. And we all know that we have to have fat in our body for our cells, for hormones, enzyme systems. I mean, it's just not possible to live without some fat in our body. And I'd also like to mention one thing here. Fat is something that we have, and that's something that we eat, right? It's in food, and it's something we have in our body. Fat is not who we are. I don't want anyone to ever say, I am fat. That is not an identity. Fat is literally just a thing. It's something that you might have on your body. Well, you do. We all do. But it's fat in and of itself is not bad. So if we believe that lie, we are putting our body into a state of toxicity and stress. The next one is that food makes me fat. So eating food is going to make me fat. I just shouldn't eat. And if I eat less, I won't be fat. And that's toxic, and it's not true. You have to have food. I mean, this is not rocket science, but this is a toxic dietary belief that food is going to make me fat. Food is my enemy, you know. Food and the plate can become such a battleground that it literally puts your body in a state of stress. And that is when that toxicity occurs, and you get those issues in your tissues, because every time it's time to eat, you now have to put on your armor, right? You now have to battle the enemy. And how many times in our day do we need to eat? I mean, this is a big deal. If food's your enemy, we have a problem. This one right here, less food plus more exercise equals less weight, is a challenging one for me, because in dietetics school, we learned that. We learned calories in, calories out. There were no other factors in the equation. There wasn't toxicity. There wasn't stress. There wasn't inflammation affecting your weight. It was literally calories in, calories out. We could calculate your BMR, your activity level, and you should be able to eat this many calories and lose weight. Well, we know it's not that simple. But we have people running around on the Stairmasters at the gym, killing themselves, burning this many calories every single day. I see the same people at the gym, guys, on the same elliptical, on the same treadmill, on the same Stairmaster, killing themselves, because I think they believe this toxic dietary belief that if they eat less and they exercise more, the equation will absolutely mean less weight. But it doesn't. There's so many more factors, including this mindset stuff. My diet must be perfect. Oh, get real. I mean, I'm a dietitian, and my diet is absolutely not perfect. I don't expect anybody's diet to be perfect. On this side of heaven, there ain't nothing perfect, ladies. So we just have to let that one go. And putting that kind of pressure on yourself is so not going to help you. So I don't want you to ever feel like your diet has to be perfect, because that's not what you're created for. You're not designed to have a perfect diet. You're designed to be vibrantly healthy and to eat well and to nourish your body well, but you're also designed to enjoy pleasure from food. Yes, I said pleasure, and I know that sounds like woo, but food does bring pleasure, and it's okay. The last toxic dietary belief is, if I only looked a certain way, or if I ate a certain way, I would be happy. If I could stick with my paleo, if I could stick with this 1,200 calories, if I could do this, then I'd be happy with myself. I would be happy in life. If I would get from a size 12 down to a size 4, I know I'd be happy. Well, the truth is, we've seen it, and I've experienced it personally, not true. I've been, like I said, my lowest weight, and actually hated my body more than I ever have probably my entire life. So it's not true. If you can't find a way to cultivate happiness now, and we can't help you understand how to be more present in your body and be thankful for your body serving you now, I guarantee you, when you get 3, 4, 5 sizes smaller, you're still not going to be happy. So again, it's a toxic dietary belief that we've got to let go of. And And really, guys, it's not as easy as saying, okay, I'm just not going to think like that anymore. It does take work. It takes reading. It takes, digesting this information. It takes talking to somebody that's maybe struggling with it as well. So don't feel like you're an island and you have to do this alone, because you certainly don't. So this is what I find very intriguing, is that the physiology in the body that actually happens, and we know this from science, that stress response, that one that God put in our bodies so that we could run from the lion, the tiger, bear if we're going to get eaten. Well, we've gone a little haywire with it. And I think that's why most Americans have what I call, if you've seen, adrenal fatigue, is because we live in the stress state all the ever-loving time. It was designed for a very short snippet of time to save our lives or get us away from a predator. That's what it was designed for. And yet we are living lives where we put such pressure on ourselves that our bodies are in this state of stress way more than they should be. So here's what I'm saying, and it's true, and we have science to show that when you are in this state of stress response, and even the thoughts, the brain doesn't know the difference between a real threat or a perceived threat. So to the brain, if you think food is the enemy, and every time you have to get down at the table and make a meal or eat a meal with your family or go out and eat, and internally you go into that stress mode, the brain doesn't know the difference. It's going to mount a big response. It's going to squirt out cortisol, which is not good for our system long term. It's going to squirt out insulin, which is going to make you store body fat. It's also going to decrease your metabolism and your calorie burning and your ability to digest and assimilate nutrients. And the reason it does this is because it's shunting blood away from the digestive organs, because it thinks that you're in fight or flight mode and that you need to run from the bear. So this is really a big deal. If this is happening in your body 50, 75% of your day, can you see how maybe your body isn't able to let go of that weight, and even though you're killing yourself with exercise and eating right, but the mind, you're being so hard on yourself that you are in this state of stress that your body, it's literally like you're just literally counterproductive of what your actual goal is. Your body is doing the exact opposite of what you want it to do. And cortisol, guys, something to keep in mind with cortisol, when you exercise really hardcore, you do release cortisol. So I've had people that are like working out a couple times a day, hardcore workout classes, this and that, and can't lose a darn pound or an inch. And I really think you have to learn what's the balance of keeping your body in a relaxed state versus a stress state. Because yes, exercise stresses the body, but it's good for the body if that's a short amount of time. But if you're living a very stressful life in addition to all that hardcore exercise, and all you're doing is squirting out cortisol, and the brain is just going to think that it's constantly needing to defend you, then you are not getting from your body what it can do for you in the relaxation response versus the stress response. So those toxic dietary beliefs need to go. They need to hit the road, because they are causing this to happen in your body, okay? So we've kind of talked a little bit about the part of the story that is the mind and the emotions, and that they literally exert a very powerful influence on your psyche. So you really have to know that that is part of the equation. The other part is, of course, what we all know, the right nutrients coming into the body. We used to think that was like 100%. It's just all what we eat. What kind of food I eat. Doesn't matter what my mindset is, or what I think about myself, or my self-esteem, or how I interact with my husband or my wife, or or what my relationships are like, or my job, if it's stressful. No, we don't think about any of that. We just figure if I eat this, this, and this, I should be losing weight. I shouldn't have digestive problems. I shouldn't have these food intolerances. But if we don't address the emotional part that goes with the mind-body connection, we are really missing out on a major key. So what I'm asking you to do is literally just become the general manager of your body. You might hear this term more like in the alternative realm, like body wisdom. And I first learned of it in yoga. I don't know if you guys have been to yoga, but they really want you to like be present in your body and just tap into that body wisdom. And all that really means is, like I was telling you in the meditation, like doing a scan over your body and just being aware, oh my gosh, my chest is super tight. Wow, I must need to just like take some deep breaths, kind of process what's going on. Why am I feeling like that? And not judging it, not trying to fix it, but just, try to just be in it and allow it to be what it is. But tapping into the body wisdom and paying attention to okay, I have a really tight shoulder. What is going on? What am I holding there? Tapping into, you know, all the way down your legs, in your midsection, everything. Just notice. Notice what's happening, okay? I'm just asking you to take note. If you eat something and something happens with your belly every single time, if you get bloated or you have to run to the bathroom, that's a great sign from your body. It's sending you a message. If you feel fatigued, like a fog after you eat pasta or gluten or whatever, your body's trying to send you a message. That's body wisdom. When you listen and you're like, hey, every time I drink coffee, my heart starts pounding, I get jittery. I don't think that's working for me. You know, just become in tune with your body and just start really small. Start by sitting in a chair where it's quiet and just closing your eyes. And like I say, just get a picture in your mind going from head to toe of where some tension is, some comfort or some discomfort, and just note what those areas are. There's so many layers to the mind and body connection, and we will dig deeper as we build on this series of talks. I just talked quite a bit about toxic dietary beliefs and how those are part of our mind-body connection. We'll talk more about nourishment. Now, I'm not talking just nutrients and food. I'm talking about what truly nourishes your soul. I'm going to continue to talk more about the stress and relaxed eating. And then embodiment, really learning to become present in our bodies. You know, have you ever noticed that we just go through the day and we're like, we don't even check in with our body? Like, oh my gosh, I had this going on. I've had a headache all day. I didn't even realize it. Or, oh, you know, like my stomach doesn't feel so good. What's going on? Like we just aren't even, we aren't in our body. We are just so one task to the next that we aren't even listening. So becoming, you know, present in your body. And we have some things to help you be able to practice becoming more in tune with your body. But also consider what other things besides food are going to nourish you. Maybe it's music. Maybe it's playing music. Maybe it's playing an instrument. Maybe it's singing. Maybe it's listening to music. Movement, you guys. And I would really challenge you to find a form of fitness, exercise, if you will, that you love. If you don't love going to your HIIT class or your body sculpt class or whatever, your barre or whatever, I mean, I've tried them all. I mean, some of them I loved and some of them I never went back because I couldn't stand it. Find something you love, because moving the body is a priority, but not whipping it into shape and smacking it into shape. Like moving the body in a way that you enjoy is going to put you into the relaxed response versus a stress response. So look into Nia. It's a really good form of movement that incorporates dance and martial arts. Like it just encourages you to be in tune with your body. Look at going on walks with a girlfriend, going on a run with a girlfriend, whatever kind of movement you enjoy. As long as you enjoy it, it's great. What relationships, when you leave having lunch or coffee with a friend, what relationships do you feel nourish you? Who do you need in your life that when you walk away, you kind of have a warm, fuzzy feeling? You need to be around those people. They will nourish you. And then your hobbies. I mean, I know we don't all have time for hobbies in this day and age, but try to cultivate something that you enjoy. Maybe it's gardening. Maybe it's crafting once in a while with your kids. Maybe it's decorating. Just those things can nourish the soul and really help put your body more into a relaxation mode and allow it to really thrive and flourish. So nourishment really is more than just food, okay? So I've shared a lot with you guys tonight, and I just want to ask you to be mindful when these things come up for you. Again, no judgment of thoughts or fleeting, you know, things through the mind. Just learning to be open, like that you're aware is huge. If you would increase your awareness in being open, just like you are even listening to this tonight, you're going to create an environment where the healing can begin. And I guarantee you the tools and the resources that you need, if it's a book or some video that you need to see, I mean, they just start coming. That's what happened to me. Like when I was open and ready to like let go of this baggage of thinking I need to be 120 pounds. And if I'm not worthy. If I'm 125, I'm still not good. And I just couldn't do it anymore. Like I was ready to heal and be better. Then all of the things that I needed to get better came into my life. And I know they'll do that for you too. So acknowledge that the healing happens more than just in your physical body, right? Like, and here's the truth. Physical healing often doesn't happen until there's a deeper emotional healing. So if it's the weight that you're stuck at, the body's not letting go, or if it's like I said, some kind of food intolerance or some kind of medical thing that's going on, a lot of times that is not going to clear up for you until there's a deeper, like, emotional healing around some area that you may need to uncover. And it just takes time. But like I said, being open is like humongous. And then I guarantee you it will begin to happen. And the cool thing is that the healing in this area, it's totally a mystery. Like, I can't tell you in my 8-month training when did I feel like I was getting healed of these toxic dietary beliefs and the hardcore criticism of myself and expectations. And it was a process. It was a journey. And you have to kind of respect that it's a mystery. And again, my faith, I'm a Christian. I believe the grander wisdom is God. You may not believe that, but there is a grander wisdom that does the healing. Have you guys ever thought about, like, when you cut your finger, like, it's crazy to think about. Like, you don't have to tell the white blood cells that to come there and, you know, protect it from infection. You don't have to tell the clotting factor to come and heal off the wound. Like, it does it on its own. Is that incredible? The body knows how to heal on its own. How did it get like that? There's a grander wisdom. We are much smaller than we think we are. Like, God, whatever your belief, God, universe, whatever, for me it's God. He does the healing. We just have to be open and create an environment, right? So you might put a Band-Aid on the finger, you might put Neosporin on it. You've created an environment for the body to do its healing work, but you didn't create the healing in your finger. So that's all I'm asking you to do. And I guarantee you that if you're open to that, that the healing will begin. And that's where the exciting stuff starts to happen. So, yeah, I get so fired up and just passionate about what this might do for you guys and anyone that's in your world. I would really recommend going to Mark David Institute for Psychology of Eating. That he's the founder. You can find him on Facebook. And if you follow or like him and Emily Rosen, Rosen, they do videos, amazing, just free videos. And that's how I heard about them. And their videos even helped me before I got into this program. So I would go like them, follow them. He has a book called Nourishing Wisdom that I've been recommending to everybody. It's literally like $3 on Amazon. It's an oldie, but it's a goodie. It's from the 90s. I think my pages fell out of mine. It was so old. But it is an amazing book, you guys. Seriously. Just reading that book in the beginning of my training was so eye-opening, and I guarantee it will be for you too. So make that $3 investment. It's the best book you're going to ever buy for $3. And I'm just going to wrap it up with this, the acorn theory. There was a philosopher out there, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but if you Google it, you'll see it. And he had this theory that, like, an acorn, literally this small little acorn has the DNA inside of it, right? Inside that little nut or seed or whatever, for this magnificent, humongous tree. Like, the acorn has inside of it. That's how that tree began, was from the inside of that little acorn. And so the theory is that, like, we are like the acorn. Like, we have a blueprint, like a God-given purpose, passion, and thing to fulfill here on earth. And it's literally our job to kind of uncover it and discover what that blueprint is. And really, I believe coming to a place of peace and healing with your body image, with your food and your health challenges, and really, like I say, coming into a place of healing and acceptance allows you to really fulfill the DNA blueprint that God put inside of you of who you're supposed to be. And it literally takes a lifetime to unpack that little DNA blueprint inside. Like, it's not an overnight thing, but you're going to see amazing things happen. And I know that all of us want to leave a legacy of some kind for our children or our family. And being the greatest version of you is the best thing you can do for your loved ones. And I think that having some healing in the area of food, body, and, you know, weight is something that we as women have just really got to work on. And so, yeah, that's the first presentation, guys. That's all I got for True Nourishment Part 1. Next time we're going to talk a little bit more about compulsions, kind of like binge episodes and things like that, things that you notice that you might do, and how those are really kind of a need for self-compassion and kindness. and that you can learn to embrace kind of some of your episodes and not be so wrapped up in the shame and guilt, but you can see them also as a doorway. So we talk more about that on the next talk, and I'll probably do that in a couple months. So thanks you guys for joining. Do any of you have calls? You can unmute yourself, or excuse me, calls, questions. Any of you have questions? No? Okay, well, thank you guys so much for jumping on with me. And share this with anybody. You know, I don't care if they're on our Isogenics team or not. I just want people to be able to have some freedom and some growth in this area because it's just blown my mind. So feel free to share. I'll post the recording in our Facebook group. And yeah, I'll do it again for the next one. So thank you guys for joining me. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Amy.
Thank you, Amy.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.